Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to Skyblock 116. I hope you guys are having a good day. Look at this! Look at this lovely tree-lined path we have up to the nether portal. I have been doing a little bit more work, not off camera, but on time-lapse because I didn't want to just spend the entire episode mining for resources. But that's what I've been doing in between episodes. I needed to farm a whole bunch of trees, and I mainly prioritized jungle and spruce so I could get the maximum amount of wood per sapling. I ended up doing a fair amount of grinding at the gold farm so that I could get a few more resources traded with the piglins. And I did a bunch of stone mining as well, basically locking my account on that left-click action so I could just walk away from the computer while stone was being harvested and dropped into all of these hoppers. The stone is now merrily smelting away in a somewhat automated setup I have back here in the shed. I do still need to automate this a little bit better, but today what we're going to be doing is setting up a more permanent home for my villagers, and maybe a more permanent villager breeding setup, because villagers really are the cornerstone of how you get stuff that is very difficult to otherwise get in the Skyblock environment. Things like enchanted books when enchanting comes at a premium, and things like, you know, trading for emeralds that you can then trade to librarians who will give you glass is so much better than setting up a sand platform. Although I have an idea for a sand farm, thanks to a couple of people leaving some helpful hints in the comments about how we can have multiple platforms in a sand farm where husks only generate if they have open sky above them. So there's some pretty cool things we can do about that. One thing I want to fix while I'm down here, though, is the unfortunate demise of the iron golem I had set up as bait for the slime farm. Now, the slime farm chest is probably pretty full at this stage, but what I had not taken into account was the fact that that block there, that row of blocks there, doesn't have slabs on top of it. And so, unfortunately, we had some stuff spawning. You can kind of see it in the background of the time-lapse. Some hostile mobs were spawning up there, and a skeleton spawned up there and ended up shooting the iron golem to death. So, I'm probably going to put another iron golem there and just put a few blackstone slabs over the top of the blocks there, just to make sure that doesn't happen again. And with the sun setting, now seems like the ideal time to do this. So we're just going to leave a row of slabs over the top here. We could spawn-proof it any other way, but I feel like it's probably going to be for the best if we just lay some slabs over the top of there. And then on our smooth stone blocks down here, we are just going to create a new iron golem from scratch. And look at this! Having a silk touch pickaxe means I can bridge with whatever materials I want, because I can gather all of this natural stone back up again. And there we go! We got a brand new iron golem in place at the farm. And while the slime farm has not exactly been suffering in the meantime, as we'll see if we pop over here to the supply chest where all of the slime has been gathered, yep, pretty much full to the brim, and I'm certain that it's backed up as far as those hoppers go all the way along the line. But even so, it is nice to have the golem here so the farm works as it was originally intended, and no more spawns. Thank you very much. So the plan for today's video, I think, is to head over here, because this isn't blocking anything really below it. We don't really have a great deal of stuff down there that is going to be affected if we put blocks over the top of it. We are going to be building a villager sanctuary and trading hall over in this location. And this is probably also going to include, in the fullness of time, a zombie here who we can use to zombify the villagers and return them to their former glory by curing them so that we can get ourselves some trading discounts. Because that way, of course, we'll be able to put minimum emeralds in and get maximum profit out, which is always a little bit of a weird thing to do, to zombify them until they get price drops, but that's going to be very useful for the limited amount of emeralds we can get with the resources that we have right now. So for once, we're going to start building with solid blocks in this layout here, because of course we now have ample access to lighting sources. I've got some lanterns that I made using the iron, but we can even trade those from librarians if we want to. And we're going to make a kind of villager hotel over here that's going to be the more permanent residence of the villagers I've got down there, and also potentially some more villagers if we can get ourselves a few more villagers bred up here. One of the other great advantages of having a silk touch pickaxe is that now I can take the grass away from here if I want to, and if I want to spread some grass on this side as well, all I've got to do is place some dirt and one block of grass and the grass will spread to all of the dirt on this side, which is so nice. It's so great being able to just put grass wherever I want to now. I'm very, very happy about this. But when I say hotel, I actually mean hotel. That's more literal than you might think, because I actually want to build multiple stories to a structure here, have it almost be like a skyscraper kind of format, and we can put all of the different villager professions on each individual level. So the bottom floor is going to be some of the folks I would like to trade with to get a bunch of emeralds, and then as we ascend the floors here, we're going to have things like librarians and stonemasons and all of the folks that I'm not necessarily interested in trading my resources to, but whose resources I can buy back from them. Stonemasons are definitely going to be involved somewhere because I want to get my hands on a little bit of quartz and some of the other stuff that they trade, including all of the varieties of terracotta. Now, that's something that we could always farm ourselves if I decide to make a drowned farm like I made in the Skyblock 115 season, but I really think it'd be nice to take advantage of villager trading a little bit more this time around and really get hold of a bunch of stuff just by trading it with the villagers. So if this is going to be a hotel, we need to make the entrance look a little bit nicer. Gone with a little bit of polished basalt. Here we're going to have a marquee of sorts over the front, but then we're going to have a little bit of grass on either side to have some greenery around here. Maybe get some oak leaves to make little bushes and things like that. Spruce the place up a bit, make it look kind of nice. Probably work in a little bit of stone brick and then a nice red carpet in the center once I've dyed a few of the sheep downstairs red so that we can get ourselves a little bit of red wool. Or alternatively, I've always thought that nether wart blocks actually look like quite a nice lush carpet, so I wonder if maybe we can make a hotel marquee kind of thing out of nether wart blocks. Give me a second or two here. I feel like we can rustle up something pretty good. Let's see, how do we feel about this? I actually quite like it. It's got a little chandelier of sorts in this marquee canopy thing over the front door. We've got a little bit of lighting concealed in there, a little bit of lighting up there on top of the canopy as well. These nice little window frames made out of jungle wood, because I've got a fair amount of that right now, and I figured little window boxes where we could grow flowers since we don't have access to clay right now and haven't been able to make myself some flower pots. So I think, yeah, just planting some flowers in the windows there would be quite nice, and thanks to trading some glass with my librarians, we can actually make real windows, because I've got a fair amount of the glass in supply here. So let's make some window panes. Just going to stick with clear glass for now. There we go. Got an advancement for that as well. Even better. Great stuff. We'll put those in the front there, and then we can start working on the interior. I would really love to get some dark oak wood on the go for the interior of this place. Really work well with the red carpet feeling. Kind of feel a little bit more lush. But alas, the dark oak tree over there actually has not been touched yet. The main reason for that being, of course, that I do not have any means of getting fortune on those leaves. But I think maybe if we breed up another couple of librarians temporarily, we might be able to change that. And after a lot of lectern breaking and placing, I finally have a librarian who straight up trades me fortune 3. For a very high price, but don't worry, folks, I've been able to do a lot of trading thanks to how productive the iron farm is. I also have this guy over here who started out with a mending trade for 18 emeralds and has only gotten better since then. So now a couple of my tools have mending. It's really great to have a fully charged up diamond silk touch pickaxe again. That pickaxe is all but maxed out. All we need is efficiency 4 unbreaking 2 to make that efficiency 5 unbreaking 3. I also got myself a Sweeping Edge 3 book from another librarian who may have taken a trip into the void. By design, actually, because I didn't want to outfit this area with even more beds. So I just, casually broke a block underneath him and he fell, which meant the other villagers didn't get mad at me for killing one of their own. A little bit sneaky, but I thought it was a trick we may as well have exploited. And now this guy has the Fortune 3 trade, which means we can take an iron hoe with Fortune 3 and head out to the forest. But look who else has showed up while I happen to be trading all of my emeralds to people. The Wandering Trader is here, and he's actually, I'm gonna have to go up and down that waterfall and over there to see what he has to offer, because man, I've not laid this out particularly well. But quickly in the meantime, I'm going to add Fortune 3 and Mending together, and we're going to add that to this iron hoe. And you might be wondering why I'm not doing this with a diamond hoe. Fact is, I don't have a toolsmith who will trade me a diamond hoe yet, and I have no diamonds with which to make one myself. Now, I might end up breaking this by mistake, but that's not a huge problem because we have villagers who will trade us Fortune 3 and Mending. I really wish Piglins still traded you netherite hose with a very small chance, but unfortunately that has been removed from the Java edition loot tables for bartering, so we're not going to see that. We're not playing Bedrock edition, and I think it's even getting removed from Bedrock edition in a forthcoming update as well. So unfortunate though it is, this hoe is all we've got to work with for now. Good news is, though, we can basically mend it whenever we need to. So even if it's on low durability, we should be able to, we should be able to fix it up nice and easily. And I'm just swapping stuff around in my inventory now. Mr. Trader, what do you have for us today? Oh, now you're talking. Coral blocks. Yes, excellent. I'll grab one of those. I have a feeling we can use that for something later, but I think we also did need to make sure we can get coral fans, which we get from tropical fish, or in a warm ocean biome. The rest of this stuff isn't really looking too hot, if I'm honest with you. The cacti and the cactus green, I've got enough already. We can grow some more if we need to. Pink dye is nice and easy to come by. Podzol we get from spruce trees, and the azure bluettes we will probably end up just getting from the plains biome around here. But while he's here, I might as well buy out the rest of his supply of coral if these llamas will leave me alone for a second. Alright there, friend, I will grab a little bit more coral from you, and it's nighttime because he's turning invisible. Okay, I will make my way back to the platform, and that'll be it for the Wandering Trader, I think. But now it's finally time that we can go over there to that island and get the leaves with Fortune 3, which should give us the highest chance of getting good drops from saplings. Now I'm going to grab a little bit more material. I've also taken off my armor and got some backup tools here because just in case, just on the off chance, the slightest off chance that we end up falling into the void on this little trip, you know, a slab can be placed wrong, something can happen, the game can glitch out occasionally, or I can just place a foot wrong here and there. I don't want to end up falling into the void with what is now actually quite a precious set of tools. Having something as good as this pickaxe is actually getting me in that survival mindset of wanting to preserve this stuff now, even though we can trade it all back with villagers. It just takes a while to get there at this point. So we're going to head out in the direction of whatever that originally was. Was that the Birch Island? I'm kind of forgetting what was what now, but either way, we're going to make our way over there, and then from there, we're going to hang a left, head over to the Dark Oak Island, and I brought enough slabs that hopefully we can create a perimeter around it and preserve all the saplings as they fall. Oh no, my F3 information here is telling me this was the jungle biome, yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. Okay, and with that mystery solved, off to the Dark Oak Forest we go. I'm just going to bridge out in this direction with my slabs, and I'll see you guys when we're over there. Oh, now that's interesting. Actually, I've stopped a little bit before that because I turned around to check how far it was, and there is a pillager watchtower over there. Now, thankfully, just by eyeballing it, I can fairly confidently say that any pillagers that spawn in there are not going to be able to shoot me over here at this Dark Oak Forest while we are gathering the leaves, but I would be a little bit worried about that otherwise. I would maybe expect to find a woodland mansion if this was a Dark Oak Forest in a normal Minecraft world, but I have to confess the pillager outpost there kind of caught me off guard. Well, folks, we made it to the island in the end, and I did end up having to go back and get some more slabs because I'd only brought 3 stacks with me, and it took about 3 stacks just to get here. But I'm going to build a fairly wide platform out around the outside of these because we really don't want to lose any of the saplings. A reminder, of course, that while the sapling drop rate on these trees is about the same as any of the other trees would be, you do need 4 saplings to grow a dark oak tree back again. So we are going to need a decent supply of saplings if we want this to be a renewable wood farming venture. And believe me, dark oak is one of my favorite woods now. I really, really like spruce wood the most, but I think dark oak probably comes a close second for me. So I want to have plenty of this to use in the hotel project and other projects besides. And it's the only type of wood that we can't farm renewably yet. So hopefully after this little adventure, we will. So we're going to start breaking these leaves with the fortune hoe. There we go. We got our goal reached. We reached all of the trees, and we got 2 saplings so far, having just broken 4 or 5 leaf blocks. This is looking pretty promising to me. In the last series of Skyblock that I did, I was really, really upset that we didn't end up getting more renewable dark oak wood. I think I got 4 saplings initially, and now I have 4 saplings on me immediately. But yeah, I think I ended up not getting enough saplings from my second dark oak tree that we could grow any more than that. So luckily this time it looks like we are getting plenty. Fortune 3 is doing very, very good work on these leaves, and yeah, we should have more than enough, it seems like. Did we just lose one? I think we may have just lost one, but that's fine. Already got 9 in the inventory, a few more littering the ground here. That makes me very happy indeed. And after sticking a torch in this island and making sure that nothing is going to spawn over here, 14 dark oak saplings is our total. Considering that sometimes if you just let the leaves decay naturally, you can't even get 4 saplings. 14 is a perfect amount. I think that's going to work out very well for us. We can grow 3 trees and have a couple of saplings spare. Now all I have to do is make my way back to the main island, and I can start farming dark oak wood to my heart's content. Casting our eye back around the Skyblock world, it's also the case that I haven't been out to the Swamp Island yet. But once again, the Swamp Island is only really going to be necessary if we want to get hold of blue orchids, because they will only grow in swamp environments. Or maybe we could trade one from the Wandering Trader if he happens to be selling them on any particular day. But the wood over there is only oak wood. It's not going to be any kind of big deal for us to miss out on that for now, because we've got plenty of it here anyway. It feels good to be back on land, and once I've removed these oak trees, we can farm a little bit more dark oak wood, and we can start to outfit the interior of the hotel. And I've been working a bit on the outside. I did not intend to make it look like a screaming face, but sometimes that's just how Minecraft builds turn out. The red does look a little bit like a tongue now that I look at it, but I think that's probably what we're going to go with regardless. And you know what? I think we can do the rest of this build in the form of a time lapse. Well, this is certainly one of the larger things that I've built in a vanilla Skyblock world, or at least one of the tallest. I really like the design of this. I do want to change it up a little bit over time, but I think we're running short on build time for this episode, and we need to get functionality in here. We need to get the villagers in here, but I wanted to show you quickly what I've done with the elevators that take us to the upstairs floors. We're going to be using one of these, at least, to get the villagers up to their respective areas. But first of all, we have a bubble column here that you can exit via these fence gates, which is actually easier to do than I just made it look, because I was automatically going up to the next floor, which all you have to do is step into the adjacent water column and you're up there, right? So that kind of works pretty well. I was thinking about maybe we put a villager breeder up here, but villager breeders normally need a pretty steady supply of crops, and I don't want to have a crop farm up here. I don't think that's really going to work out for the space, so maybe we can add the crops in manually, or maybe we just treat one of these floors as someplace the villagers are going to breed up a whole bunch of themselves. But either way, we're probably going to find that there are more than enough villagers for our needs. And to get back down, I've actually used this trick. This is kind of a fun one, actually. The chests there are waterlogged, and if you waterlog a chest, the chest itself is just slightly smaller than the hitbox of a block, meaning that when you make impact with the water, that blocks fall damage in the same way that falling into a water source does, but means you don't fall down into the block and have to step out in a kind of awkward way. It works pretty well with the chests, actually. I've not really done that technique before. This is my first time trying it, and I think it's kind of worth it. I might also break out this side here, just so that you can step out onto the floor more easily instead of falling down the secondary hole here. And I will probably put some stuff in the way so that the villagers don't walk into and out of these, but I think more often than not, they're just going to be contained in little areas where they have their workstations, and they're not going to want to move in and out of the elevators anyway. But the next step really is just going to be getting the villagers in here in the first place. And so what I thought I would do is take out this block of soul sand here, have the water fall all the way down to the bottom of the world, and underneath that we can build up a column of glass that's going to act as an elevator, and then have a walkway of glass that's going to carry the villagers over in a series of water streams from where they are down there up into the hotel. And hopefully after that we should see a decent population of villagers hanging out inside of here. I will also probably put some sort of gate across the front here to make sure the villagers don't just walk out, although there are a couple of things that we can do to make that a little bit easier on ourselves. And we're just managing to thread the needle here from the villager enclosure past the iron farm and past the slime farm over to that column of water in the distance. So we're going to surround that probably with cobblestone at this point, but we're going to make this section here out of glass, and the main reason for that, of course, is to prevent mob spawns from happening. Here we could do it with other material like slabs or something. I just happen to have the glass handy. And as we go down these water streams, we're going to be blocking them every so often with signs there and there, which is going to allow us to, once we refill these buckets, have a water source here, and that's going to encourage the villagers to flow on down this tube. We are maybe going to have to block the top section of this off in case the villagers float up to the surface, but either way, we shouldn't have too much problem getting them over there to the water elevator, which in a second is going to be a bubble column with the soul sand that I took from upstairs. Okay, hastily constructed a wooden tube in place. We're going to remove this block here, place the soul sand there, grow a huge column of kelp up to the surface just by bone mealing it, which is so good that we can place this stuff on soul sand and bone meal it now. Makes this whole process a lot easier. And I think that's the full height up into the hotel, so we're gonna break that block and test the ride for ourselves. Always important to make sure you test this stuff before you put the villagers in all the way up to the surface. This is going to take us to the first floor past that little entrance there. A couple of the villagers might get caught that way on the way out, but either way, they should probably end up in this section here or the room above, and we can sort out which floor we're on after that point. The most important thing is getting them up here in the first place. Okay, time for the moment of truth. Villagers will want to wander off during the day if they can't find a workstation. They'll probably be a little bit more inclined to wander around, and since all of these folks have their trades locked in, including this guy with the Fortune 3 trade, we've only traded with him once, but that should be enough. I should just be able to break their workstations. We're going to remove those and take them upstairs to the hotel, and I wonder how long it's going to take for one of our villagers to just wander into the water streams of their own accord. They all seem like they're at a bit of a loss right now. I've just removed all of their workstations and they're not entirely sure what to do. So I'll just give them a couple of friendly nudges in the direction of the water stream and see how they end up. They don't really have a workstation to pathfind back to, so let's try our librarian friend here first. And yep, he probably needs blocking off at the sides there, but he's not going to be pathfinding to anything. So hopefully this should all work as planned. We're going to track him all the way into the bubble column, probably just give him a final nudge here. Once he hits those signs, he probably won't want to go anywhere, so yeah, I might have to break out one block of this as well. I think maybe we need to block this section here off as well, and yeah, that should give him enough. Yep, he's got enough headroom now that he can get underneath there. Maybe we'll put a slab there or something. A slab there will probably work a lot better. And now we're going to follow him up into the hotel and see where he ended up. Hopefully he is surviving at the top of this bubble tube, and yep, our first villager is in the hotel, and he's even got a view. Look at this. He can look out over the tree farm and enjoy himself. Well, you, my friend, are going to need a lectern to work out, of course, so we're going to pop that up here and see if you want to pathfind to that during the day. Of course you do. Those green particles prompt the villagers to actually go to their workstations, and that's a very good thing. What I was thinking of doing was maybe blocking off the top area here with lecterns and then maybe having slabs over the top of them and maybe some slabs here so that we can look up and talk to the librarians, but they're unable to get out of here. They won't need to sleep, of course. The only time villagers need beds is if they want to produce iron golems or breed, so I think it should be fine just to have them separated off behind a row of lecterns here and allow them to work throughout the day and then just chill during the night and socialize. Well, based on that demonstration, everything should be fine to transport the villagers over there, and I wonder if we can do that in kind of a sneaky way. I'm going to trade with a couple of these guys who will give me iron, and then this guy here, the weaponsmith, will actually trade me a village bell. And I wonder if during meeting times they are dumb enough to follow me if I put the bell over here as a meeting site. I don't know if they will, because I'm not certain there are any blocks that they feel like pathfinding to if the village bell is over here. So maybe I should just put it a little closer. Nope, unfortunately it doesn't look like the bell is doing anything in particular, but just ringing it a couple of times got them to run around enough that this guy here was pretty keen to just wander into the water streams of his own accord, and I expect some of the others will start to do the same. It looks like we may have a bit of a bottleneck over there where a single block is not flowing water, but that's absolutely fine. We don't need to worry too much about that. We'll be able to push them over if they don't push themselves in there sooner or later, and the bubble column over there will provide them with oxygen, so they're not going to drown in the water, which is the most important part, really. Hey, there we go, he's in. All right, let's follow him on down and make sure his friends over here will end up going in the right place as well. Looks like a couple of them are just stuck at the entrance to the pipe. Let me just give them a quick nudge in the right direction. There we go, up you go, and the librarian coming down the pipe right now is the last one that we need to get up there. It looks like the rest of them seem to have made it up there all right. We're going to give him the extra nudge he needs to get into the bubble column and then ride the elevator ourselves so that we can hopefully shepherd these folks into the right place. And maybe we can start them breeding up here in a second, but it looks like, yay, they've even produced an iron golem. Oh, how wonderful. All right, well, that looks like everybody accounted for. These guys are checking out their workstations, of course. We need to put down the grindstone, the brewing stand, the blast furnace, the smithing table over here. Where did the brewing stand end up going? I have a feeling that one just popped off somewhere that I'll have to go and pick up a little bit later. But it looks like these folks are happy. Who are we missing? I think maybe one of the others may have stepped out onto the next floor. Yeah, there we go. The armorer is up here. That's quite funny, actually. I'm not going to be referring to him all that much, so he can probably stay here in the attic. But folks, I think this has been a pretty successful project. We've got our villagers up here, and I've blocked off this area with fence gates, so only we can go down here for now. I think I call this a win. I think having a nice little hotel for these villagers is going to be the best place for them for the long run. And with a few more beds in place around here, before we get them all locked up behind their workstations, maybe we can encourage them to breed a few more librarians that are going to give us some better trades. And that's where we're going to leave this episode of Skyblock 116, folks. I do hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, don't forget to leave a like on it for me. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.